that you are here today. Today we're talking about how to build a marketing calendar for 2017. And you, if you follow us along and throw away your cell phone, or at least turn it off for the next hour and grab a pen, because this is probably the most important hour that you could spend this month toward making sure that you're going to have some marketing success in 2017. And you're going to feel so good when you're out vacationing and holidaying and all of those other things, knowing that you kind of got 2017 in the bag and you've got the big objectives mapped out, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So you work first, and playing becomes a whole lot more enjoyable when you know you've got things under control. So yeah, all right. So your 2017 marketing calendar, by the end of the day today, or by the end of this hour, you're actually going to have that roughed out, assuming that you follow along, right?
Of course.
So I'm Paula Williams.
And I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help all you ladies and gentlemen out there sell more stuff and products and services in the aviation world.
Right, exactly. And we are not just making this stuff up, right?
We would hardly be here wasting our time making this stuff.
Exactly. We get a lot of our information from a lot of different places, and we follow a lot of the principles of GKIC marketing, which is kind of inbound marketing, other kinds of things. Project Management Institute, if you're familiar with PMI, we're PMI certified and all of that stuff. And John's done the David Eccles School of Business with the University of Utah and got his international MBA there, and so on. We're members of all kinds of aviation groups, and we've been through the Sandler training and the Infusionsoft University, right?
And so on and so forth ad nauseum.
Exactly. So all of this stuff actually does mean something, and what we're actually doing is taking the best of what we've learned that actually works in the real world, which is not always the case, right?
That's true.
Okay, so why bother with the marketing calendar?
And there's the answer.
I know you hate reading slides, but John actually has a frog in his throat today, so we're going to keep the frogginess to a minimum. But yeah, anyway, planning is a very important thing, and I think it was what was it, Eisenhower that said
failure to plan is planning to fail.
Failure to plan is planning to fail, exactly. So this month you have an opportunity to turn the whole year around for 2017. So take it, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now this is a story that you've probably heard before. Actually, we used it in our podcast last week, but we're going to tell it much better here because we have visuals, right? Okay, so you have a mason jar, and you also have a pile of sand, pebbles, little rocks, and big rocks, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You got to get all that stuff into one jar. How do you do it?
Exactly. And this actually was, I think, started by Stephen Covey. I'm not absolutely sure that he was the first person that did this experiment, but basically you have the same amount of sand, pebbles, rocks, and so on, and you have two mason jars. And believe it or not, this really is exactly the same number of big rocks, pebbles, small rocks, and sand. But what's the difference here? The difference is in the first jar, you filled it a third of the way with sand, and then you poured the pebbles on top, and then you poured the bigger rocks and the bigger rocks and the bigger rocks. And this is the way most people do planning, right?
Or work.
Or work. You get to work in the morning, and you start answering emails, and your whole day fills up with sand.
And so you never work on the big stuff.
And so you never work on the big stuff. So you've got some big projects like trade shows, like books, like big catalogs and other big marketing projects that never actually get done. And the reason is because you put them off, and your day gets filled up with these little tiny, urgent but not important things, as Stephen Covey would say.
And so your integrated marketing plan falls to the wayside.
Exactly. So today we're going to talk about getting those big rocks in first. And there's a professor that actually adds something to this. He knows his audience very well, right? his audience is college students. So what he does once he does all this and gets everything into the mason jar is pours in a can of beer, right? And it all fits in. And the point that he's making is you even have time for fun if you do your planning right.
Yes.
Okay. And in marketing, honestly, you do much better if you're having fun. So, if you feel like you're harassed and harried and just reacting and you never have the resources you need and you never have enough time, it's really hard to be creative and really hard to have any kind of fun, which is absolutely vital to the whole creative process, right?
Yes.
So the whole thing falls apart. Okay, so make sure you get those big rocks in, and you will have a ton more time and a ton more fun in 2017. So that's really our resolution, is to make sure that that happens. So expectations for today. You will walk out of here after an hour with a plan to accomplish your company's sales and marketing objectives, right?
That works.
You'll know how to proactively get the resources you need for trade shows, campaigns, and events because you will be asking ahead of time, right?
Yep.
That always works better, especially with CFO types like John, I think one of his biggest pet peeves is when there are unexpected expenses, right?
Yeah, because I have to plan.
Exactly. It's to get the money from somewhere. And it's a whole lot easier to get that money if you have time to figure it out. And you're going to beef up the weak spots in your marketing system so that you're not losing customers. So that's a lot to expect in 1 hour, but we better get after it, right?
So go for it.
Okay, so you need 3 things. First is the calendar worksheet, which is one of the handouts from this session. If you look in your GoToWebinar control panel, under handouts, there are 2 there. The first one is a worksheet in Microsoft Word, and the second are these slides in a PDF. So you're going to want that Word document. Go ahead and print that out. You're going to want the ABCI Aviation Marketing Wall Calendar. If you're one of our members, you have one. If you are not one of our members, become one, and you will get one. If you don't have one, for today, you can just grab any old calendar off the wall that has holidays and other kinds of things, and you'll accomplish a lot of what we're doing here today. And you're also going to need your company's overall sales goals for 2017. So we'll talk about that. If you have that, that's fantastic. A lot of people do. If you don't, we're going to talk a little bit about how to get that. Okay? So first of all, the marketing calendar template. This is in Microsoft Word, so you can go ahead and fill in whatever you like in this document while we're going through this. And you're going to want to write down ideas. You may want to make copies of it. It's digital, so you can do whatever you like. The undo button is always fantastic. Delete always works, so don't get too carried away with getting everything right here, because guesses are as good as anything to start with. Okay, so this is what we're going to be filling out as we go through today's exercise. The wall calendar has things like our webinars, our book club selections, the industry events like trade shows and so on, and it also has holidays, and we're going to be talking about how to use all of those things to plan your marketing campaigns for 2017. Another place that you can get aviation events is the Aviation Service Directory. If you go there, you can go to events and select by category. You can also add your own events. If you are an Insider Circle member, you can add your events for free. And this is a really great way to publicize your events. Okay, and your company sales goals. The more detailed they are, the better. To keep this round, for an example, we're going to use this as a company sales goal. So your results may vary, right?
Based on your goals, of course.
Exactly. So for this company, and this is a fake made-up company, we're trying to keep the numbers really simple. So they need to make $1 million in sales. This is a small company. And they have 2 products, product A and product B. They expect that 75% of their sales are going to come from product A and 25% from product B. With me so far?
I am. Hopefully they are.
Okay, exactly. They get 50% of their business from referrals and 50% from new customer sales. This is pretty normal in the aviation industry. Aviation is different than most of the rest of the world. Most of the money in aviation comes from referrals and repeat business and so on. This company is planning to do 2 trade shows, and they already have a list of their top 10 most desired clients that they want to grab in 2017, right?
Yep, and let's just take a slight break. I noticed that there's more people joining.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them about the handouts and how to get them.
Okay, yeah, thank you. If you're joining us late, in the GoToMeeting control panel, if you go down to handouts, there is a marketing calendar worksheet in Microsoft Word that you're going to want to print out, because that's what we're going to be filling out as we do this. And by the time you leave today, you'll have that roughed out. It won't be perfect. Nothing ever is, especially marketing plans. But once again, that's really, really important. If you can walk out of here today with that, you're going to be miles ahead of where you were. Okay, so your company sales goals, you want to make sure that you're consulting with everybody in the company on those sales goals to make sure that you've got the right things outlined. Because the one way that this is going to fall apart is if you make assumptions about the sales goals that the boss doesn't like, or that the sales team doesn't believe is realistic, or whatever. So, you really do need to make sure that everybody is bought in to these sales goals and objectives. And if that is not the case, this is a good time to have a meeting. We hate meetings, but sometimes there is just no alternative other than to make some sales goals, make something up and float it by the rest of your team and make sure that everybody's 100% bought in. That's probably the number one way that this goes to pieces, is if those sales goals are not bought into or not realistic, right?
Absolutely.
Or not high enough. And the boss says, well, that's great. You accomplished what you said you were going to accomplish, but it wasn't enough, and we're going out of business. It has happened. Okay. All right. So basically what we have here is a calendar, 12 months, graphically represented. And we know what our sales goal is. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of divide that equally among the year, but there is a little bit of a difference here because we know nothing is going to happen in December, right? In a lot of aviation companies, a lot of folks kind of shut down for the holidays, and there's not a lot that happens there. We've got our 2 trade shows. Let's say that's HAI and NBAA. HAI actually happens the very 1st of March, but we're going to do most of our prep in February. So we're going to mark out those months and say not a lot is going to happen as far as sales during those times. And so then we're going to take our sales goal, which was what? $1 million, right?
Yep.
And we're going to divide that up among the rest of the year. So divided it evenly, or approximately evenly. So far, so good with our busy months blocked out. So, of course, this isn't going to be exact, but once again, planning never is. It's always a series of guesses that you refine as you go along. Okay, and then the other thing that I told you is that we have 2 products, right? Product A and Product B, and we're expecting that we're going to get 75% of our sales from Product A and 25% from Product B, right?
We're going to digress a bit. Educated guesses, not wild-ass guesses.
Educated guesses, exactly. Okay, so then we divide that up amongst our products. So we have, we're going to do some pretty concerted efforts to sell Product A during most of the months that are left over. And then a few of the months we're going to sell Product B. Now, why would we want to alternate between Product A and Product B?
For campaigns, probably.
Exactly. Because a lot of times you need to give people a rest. If you're selling Product A and the person is not interested in that, you're going to lose them in the process. But then if you switch to Product B, they may not be interested in Product A. When you switch your campaign, you're more likely to get that person. So we're kind of alternating between Product A and Product B, and we're going to plan campaigns around those, right? Okay.
Yep.
Also, it just gives people a break because we have a long sales cycle. So in most cases, it's going to take more than 6 weeks to sell a product. An average for the aviation industry is about 8 months. So this way, you're not constantly hitting them with sales messages about the same darn thing, right? Okay, cool. Okay, the other thing that we're assuming is that everybody has seen this. This is a marketing funnel, basically. There's lots of ways to portray this. This happens to be the way that ABCI does it for our clients. Phase 1 is advertising and prospecting. Phase 2 is building credibility and closing sales. And Phase 3 is referrals, resells, and recaptures. And what you'll notice is that in Phase 1, we make zero money, right?
Pretty much.
Especially if we have a long sales cycle, we can't expect, especially if we're having two new products that we have not sold before, we can't expect that we're going to be selling on day 1. So we're going to start in a kind of a low-key way, and a lot of our advertisements and a lot of our campaigns are going to be built around awareness in the first month or 2 and building for advertising and prospecting. So we're going to use a lot of lead magnets and tip sheets and other kinds of things that get people into our funnel, get them qualified and everything else. So we know we're going to have to push some of these sales goals out, right? So January, let's assume we've never sold product A before. We're probably not going to make any money from it in January.
For planning purposes, of course, you might get lucky, but just consider that and keep on planning.
Exactly. So what I did is I moved that $111,111 from January to February, March, April, May, June. So I pushed that forward, basically understanding that we're not going to make any money in the first month that we start selling something, right? With me so far?
No.
No. Okay, look at the screen.
I am.
Okay,
But
so we pushed it forward to May, June.
March, April.
January, February, March, April, May, June. So
You said product A.
yeah, product A. Look at June, right here.
Yeah, but look at there.
It's right there.
There.
Right. So I left April the same, right? That was $111. And then you'll notice June, I changed that.
Uh-huh.
I doubled it. You missed it. The hand is quicker than the eye. Okay. So we're making nothing in January, and we pushed that forward to June. And then we're going to do the same thing for product B, right? So basically, we start a product B campaign in March, and then we move that forward 2 months because this is going to be a smaller product that we're going to sell more of.
I think next time you should mark the little boxes with January, February, March.
Exactly.
So you can see what.
There you go. Okay, we're assuming everybody can keep this in their head, but anyway, so January, February, March are the first 3 rows, and so on. Okay, so we pushed forward some of our sales goals forward in the year, and now we're assuming that we're not going to make really any sales during January, February, March. Is that going to be true? I hope not. We may make some sales at that point, but we're planning for planning purposes. We're pushing that forward.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. With me so far? Okay, good. All right. So questions about getting started.
Let's see, on the screen.
And if you have questions, you can go ahead and type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, and John will facilitate those for us.
Some people obviously already know that.
Obviously, you're getting some already. Okay.
What if my company doesn't set sales goals? Well, they do. You just may not know what they are. And if you don't know what they are.
Right. This is actually a really good time to have that conversation. And your boss will be so impressed that you go to him and say, you know what, I need your sales goals because I'm planning our marketing campaigns for 2017. If he says, as much as we can sell, or if he doesn't have sales goals, then make some up. Use the best numbers you can get. You start with last year's sales, add 20% or whatever you think you can do that will improve upon what happened last year. You're going to have to make some assumptions, and those can be based on how much money do you need.
And try to get buy-in with the guy.
Yeah, to run the operation and things, and start that conversation. So you can take a leadership role here, especially if your boss is not really a sales and marketing guy, and say, we need to set some sales goals. Here's what I have in mind. And once again, if you don't hit them, it's not the end of the world, but at least you had something that you were shooting for, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so how do I know if these sales goals that I'm making up are realistic?
Right. Another good question. Talk to your sales team. If you are the sales team, then of course this is absolutely realistic. You probably do want to make things, some people have the philosophy that you want to go for a stretch, and you may never actually get there. Other people want to do this in an easier way so that you're sure that everybody gets a bonus, or whatever the incentives are that you set up within your company. So what I'd suggest is you start with something simple and start with something that's more achievable. Once you hit that, then you get the confidence to set more aggressive goals in the future, right? Okay, cool.
So let's see, how do you set a number for a brand new product or service?
How do you set a number for a brand new product or service? Good question. A lot of times what you can do is start with what you need to make. How much do you need to make to cover your overhead? And then add a percentage over that of what you would like to achieve. So start with the bare minimum of here's when we know we've covered our costs, and then here's what we know will be successful. Here's what we would be happy with. So you may actually have a low, medium, and high, especially with a brand new product. You may need to start with a range of options, but start with that baseline number of here's what we need to do to cover our costs and make sure that we're not losing money, right? Okay, cool. And a lot of times, with a brand new product, you may not hit it out of the park the first time, so you may only cover your costs, and that may be a win, that may be a victory. But then of course you want to improve on that as you go forward, and hopefully you have some established products that can take up some of that slack and make sure that you're making enough to make payroll and keep everybody fed, clothed, and sheltered, right?
Yeah, but then you can take your results and modify your marketing plan to adjust.
Right. This is all about constant improvement. So start with a baseline and then move forward and make it better.
So trade shows and events, how do you choose the right one?
Okay. We have some, if you go to our podcasts, and you can look these up on our website or on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, there are a couple of episodes that address how to pick the right trade shows, and that's episode 33, Trade Show Disasters and How to Avoid Them. Episode 34, Trade Shows Distant Early Planning, and episode 36, Trade Show Basics. Those three episodes will probably help you figure out which shows you want to do, and they have some more details about how to plan those budgets and things. So, okay.
So here's an off-the-wall question. How do I get an ABCI wall calendar?
How do I get an ABCI wall calendar? The only way to get one is to be in our insider circle, or to ask someone who is in our insider circle, because they each have the ability to give them away to friends, family, and associates and things like that, and colleagues. So, if you know someone who's in our insider circle, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Or you can join our insider circle, and we would be happy to send you one. So that will be fantastic.
And that's all so far. If there's any more, we'll catch them next time.
Okay, cool. All right, so once again, we have our marketing funnel, and we know what phase 1 is, which is advertising and prospecting. Phase 2 is building credibility and closing sales, and phase 3 is referrals, resales, and recaptures. So we have a marketing funnel. If we're starting from the beginning, of course, we're going to start from phase 1, and in January, we need to do something that has to do with advertising and prospecting, right? Because we need to get new customers in the door.
In the funnel.
In the funnel, right.
Then in the door.
Exactly. So we need to get some new customers into our prospecting list. So what we want to do is we want to use some of the things that we're learning in the Insider Circle. So we have these free webinars every month. Whether or not you're a member, you can come to these. And you can use this as your way of improving your marketing system throughout the year. If you are a member, of course, you also have the Insiders Only, you have your office hours, you have a lot of other resources that you can use where we'll do a lot of the work for you to get these things done during the year. So thing number 1, in January, building a marketing funnel, where you have a couple of events centered around that. Our book of the month is Rework, which is basically written by the people who built or who invented Basecamp, which is the project management software that we use. And so on. So, we're going to want to start with the events in January. We want to use each other bounce things off of each other. So if you're in the insider circle, you want to, start with your advertising, run it by the other people in the group, put it in the Facebook private group, get some feedback on those things. Say, would you click on this, or would you be interested in this lead generation, this tip sheet or this lead magnet, those kinds of things, and run those things by each other. Another thing you're going to want to do is look at some of the industry publications, and you might find some things. So let's say you sell software. Aerospace Manufacturing and Design magazine is going to have a feature on software at some point during the year. You can find out when that's going to be, and you can plan a campaign around that. So let's say we go back to our calendar business. So we want to build some software articles that we can refer to, because we know that magazine is going to be publishing something in February about our topic. So, we want to learn better prospecting, and we want to create software articles, and we want to use those for prospecting, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So other things that we can do, we need to create a great campaign for the HAI Expo. We know we're going to the helicopter event in March, so we need to create a fantastic campaign for that. That's another thing that we know we need to work on ahead of time. Okay, another thing, let's say AVCI has a workshop on podcasting in April. So let's build a 3-part mini course to talk about our software product and say, here's how you use it, here's how it works, and so forth. And here's a set of 3 podcasts that we can produce and deploy using those resources. We'll use our office hours, and we'll use everybody in the insider circle to bounce it off of, and get some comments rolling and other kinds of things, because sometimes that's the hardest part, right?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So we're using the resources that we have and making things a whole lot easier on ourselves by planning these things in advance, right?
Yes.
Okay. You'll notice I talk a lot more than John does.
Yeah, and the other thing is I'm expecting a call from Cray Computers, so.
No. Okay. Right. So, of course, we're planning all of these campaigns, and for each campaign, we know we need a list, an offer, and a presentation, right?
Of course.
Of course. So if we're planning ahead, we have a lot more leeway to make sure that we can do that. So for the HAI event, what we need is a list. So we get a list of the attendees from last year, if we can do that, if we have an in at the trade show. If not, they sometimes publish those on the website. We can go through that and say, here are the top 10 people we want to make appointments with this year. And we want to, so we create an offer. And this is one of the things that people don't do enough of when they're planning events, is give people a reason to stop by your booth. So the offer might be free consultations about our particular.
You should do that. Give them a reason before the show.
Exactly. So let's do a consultation about the software that you're currently using and how it could be doing better. So maybe an audit of your internal systems and things like that, and you can send them something ahead of time so that you can be prepared when you sit down with them at that event. You sound really, really smart, and you're making really good use of their time, and you're giving them something of value. So that's the list and the offer. The presentation, we want to do invitations, and that could be telephone invitations where you're calling them and scheduling an appointment. That could be actually engraved, beautiful, like wedding invitations. We've seen that done really nicely for some of these events.
Depends on the price of whatever it is you're selling.
Exactly. But for every event that you plan, and you don't have to do this now, but understand that you're going to need a list, an offer, and a presentation for every single campaign that you do, right?
Of course.
And it will be 1,000 times more effective that way. So let's say we're doing a referral campaign in April. We need a list, an offer, and a presentation. The list is our current clients. The offer is maybe a coffee card for both. And the presentation could be a coffee box. And this is one that we've done for actually for NBAA, but we'll use it for this purpose right now. And it's got a letter that's rolled up, it's wrapped up in a ribbon. We've got a little packet of coffee. We've got creamer, cookies, napkins, stir sticks, sugars, the whole 9 yards in there with some marketing materials. So your list is really important. The list would be current clients, the offer, a copy card for the person making the referral and the person being referred. Who doesn't love that, right?
Well, and you got to remember that customer acquisitions cost money. So every customer costs you some number of dollars, and depending on the price of what you sell as to how much you are willing and able to spend on this sort of thing.
Right, exactly. So this referral campaign, we may spend $12 a box sending these out, but we have a pretty good idea that when someone does make a referral, that's going to result in X amount of sales, and that's going to get us closer to our sales goal.
Typically, we make sure that these costs are completely covered if we get one referral.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. So once again, that's how you plan the campaign into the future, and then you have a better chance of getting the money when you ask for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. All right. So once again, we're going to look at, let's say we've got Business Jet Traveler has another article, the best luggage, apps, gadgets, and more, apps being software. And of course, our example today is a software company. So we're going to plan something for that. Software and apps in Business Jet Traveler. So once again, planning ahead, we're able to plan these things. We're able to get in touch with Business Jet Traveler, find out who the reporter is who's going to be reporting on that, and potentially get them to quote our CEO with something that makes a lot of sense and that's really relevant to something that they're reporting on at that time, because those reporters are overworked and underpaid too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, nobody. Oh no, there are a couple new ones. Let's see.
Cool.
What if there are no topics relevant to my product or service?
Then you're looking at the wrong magazines. Take the magazines that you subscribe to yourself, and also the magazines that your customers subscribe to. And you may want to get a couple of issues. You can get the media kit and make sure that you're looking at those. But if they're not relevant to what you're doing, then you're looking at the wrong magazines. Or you can always just make stuff up. You don't have to plan your campaigns. There's plenty of things to plan campaigns around besides the aviation industry publications. That's just a bonus when you can get those. But we never really hinge our life on those because they're way beyond our control.
So how do I get these topics that are planned for by aviation magazines?
Okay. You choose the magazines that you subscribe to yourself. That's a good place to start. And also that you think your customers subscribe to. And you can ask them, actually, when you do a customer satisfaction survey or something like that, which magazines do you subscribe to? That way you have a better idea of what you want to advertise in, and also what you want to get the media kits for. And when you request a media kit from these magazines, and usually there's a phone number you can call, or there's a place you can click on their website to request a media kit. They're going to send you the rates for advertising, which is what they're trying to do, is sell you advertising. But you'll also usually get what they call an editorial calendar. And what that is it's a list of topics by month that they're planning for the year. And most of them have them now for their 2017 issues, right? Cool. Okay, other questions? We good for now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's talk about holidays and observances.
Since there's one coming up very soon.
Exactly. And it's probably a little late. If you haven't done any Black Friday deals this year, you're just out of luck because it's over. So, but you really want to plan these as far in advance as you possibly can. And a lot of people don't think that these are really relevant for aviation, but I will tell you that if you have something going on that's a little bit different every month, you have a lot better chance of making sales. And the reason is because you need to create urgency. We have such a long sales cycle, and people tend to not think of things until it becomes absolutely urgent and they absolutely need it. So unless their plane is on the ground broken and they need your part in order to take off again, they're not likely to make that purchase decision today. They're going to put it off as long as they possibly can. So you're going to want to think about how to make that happen. So some of the holidays and observances and other kinds of things that we can do In February, you could do We Love Our Customers, do an extra service with a purchase. In March, you can do, Luck of the Irish, enter our contest or our sweepstakes or whatever. In April, Easter baskets with every purchase, and that Easter basket could have just goodies in it. A lot of times, food is a really good motivator and very inexpensive too. In June, there's Flag Day. You get a free flag with every purchase. Most aviation companies, their customers are very patriotic, so they like that sort of thing. Independence from security lines. Let's say you're a charter company and you sell charter flights. Fly independently of the TSA. Isn't that cool? Those kinds of things. There's lots of things that you can do that are relevant to the to a holiday. For Veterans Day, you could do a military discount or an extra service for veterans, or connect with one of your community events and sponsor a community event for Veterans Day. Those go really well. Halloween is really good, especially if you have a safety-related product. Terrible things can happen if you don't use our product. Scary stories about things that can happen to people who weren't using our product or service. Thanksgiving's one of our favorite. In fact, this works often better than Christmas if you want to send holiday cards around Thanksgiving saying, we're really thankful for your business. And, if you want to send thank you gifts for your customers, they're a lot more likely to be appreciated in November than December because you're the only one doing it and people haven't gained 40 pounds from eating over the holidays yet. And they're not getting a box of cookies from everybody they know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Christmas, you could do something like a Black Friday, buy yourself a Christmas present, buy your airplane a Christmas present, buy your business a Christmas present. These are all legitimate, fair game, right? This is one of our favorites. This is the red-nosed regional jet from ADI. This is actually kind of interesting because they have a 50-seat regional jet that's kind of a unique thing in the market. And they're drawing attention to it, kind of entering the people that's already going on in people's minds because they're already thinking about the holidays. And then this makes them look twice and go, wow, that's interesting. 50 seats? We could use that, and so on. So you can use the holidays to really capture people's attention and so on. Okay, so questions about holidays and seasonal specials? Anybody have examples or ideas or anything they want to share?
Well, here's an interesting.
Okay.
Actually, since we're an international company, is it okay to celebrate Christian holidays if you're an international company?
I have never seen anybody but Americans be offended by any holiday, honestly. So, I would say Christian holidays are fair game anywhere in the world. Most of the people that we know would not be upset. Most of the actually non-Christian people that we know would not be upset by getting a Christmas card or a Santa Claus or anything like that. And aviation, I think, is remarkably free of that sort of thing, I'm going to say. If you have a different experience, feel free to argue with me. Or let us know in the question box if you think that that would be insensitive or anything else. But I really don't think that anybody's going to be offended by something that has to do with the holidays, as long as it's not religious in nature. You may want to stick to the Santa Clauses and Christmas trees as opposed to the
nativity scene,
as opposed to the Bible verses and things. But as long as you do that, I really don't think anybody's ever run into any problem that I have ever heard of, other than in the United States with non-Christian groups specifically.
So what if I work for an aviation law firm that is concerned about cheapening the brand with silly holiday campaigns?
Okay. I was expecting that somebody was going to come up with something like that.
And why that? Because we've all worked with a law firm before.
Exactly. Okay, cheapening the brand happens because of slipshod marketing, right? So bad photography, typos, bad printing. There's a lot of things that you can do to cheapen your brand, but I don't think that associating with a holiday is going to do it. There are always, I used to tell my son, you can tell anybody anything you want to tell them as long as you tell it to them using the right words. And this is the same. As long as your branding is consistent, your materials are high quality, and your messaging is on point with your branding brief, and your execution is polished and good, I don't think you can go wrong with a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, any of those kinds of things. I've seen all of them done very, very elegantly. So that's always a choice. You can go silly or you can go elegant with any of these things, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. But yeah, let's talk about what you have in mind, and I'm sure there is a way to do it in a way that isn't going to make your boss squirm. And sometimes you can make your boss squirm, and it turns out really, really well. It just really depends on the amount of risk that you're willing to take. And if you work for a company that's really, really risk averse, then you have some handicaps, and I would urge you to push on that boundary as much as you are comfortable, because the more risk you can take, the more effective your marketing is going to be, as long as your execution is flawless, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. You agree with me. Wow.
Yeah, once in a while.
Okay, so here's our checklist. Basically, you want to establish sales and marketing objectives for the month, and you can fill those in on your worksheet. Another question that came in is, what if you don't know the numbers to budget for your campaigns for each month? Guess at this point. A guess is better than nothing, and you can always use your numbers from last year to do that, right?
Sure.
And this is coming from John, who is very meticulous and everything else, but he taught me that a guess is better than nothing, and then you refine your guess as you get closer. So yeah, guessing is perfectly fair game for today's exercise.
Educated guessing.
Educated guessing, exactly. Actually, WAGs are fine to start with, and then you want to make them more educated as you get more information.
Of course.
Okay.
You can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Break them down into monthly goals. Use the Insider Circle topics to get help, so you can plan those marketing activities around the times that you're going to be working with other people and working with us, to make sure that you're leveraging what you're paying for, and you're leveraging other people. They talk about other people's money. Here we're using other people's labor to make things easier. Okay. Use publication topics and use events to organize your calendar and plan ahead for those things. You don't want to be planning something really time intensive, or that requires a lot of your customers' time during October, November, because that's when NBAA is this year, is actually late October, weirdly. You want to create complete campaigns. And what does a complete campaign have? 3 things.
A list.
A list.
Offer.
An offer.
And a presentation.
And a presentation, exactly. Very good. Okay. And you want to measure your results for every one of those campaigns. Meet those goals, and you know what? By the end of the year, it's going to be so much easier to do next year's calendar, because you'll have numbers, you'll have results, you'll have met your goals or not, and every time you do this, you get better at it. And every goal you set and meet gives you more credibility with your boss, with your company, with yourself, and so on. All right. So in January, we will have a free webinar. It's usually the second week of the month, so check the calendar for that. It's going to be building a marketing funnel, and the goal for the month is going to create or improve your marketing funnel, find the weakest point, and take steps to fix it. So for some of us, that is prospecting. You're just not getting enough leads in the door, and if that's the case, we'll give you some options to fix that. For some of us, it's qualifying people. We're getting plenty of leads, but they're all not qualified, or we're spending way too much time and money on people who turn out to be too far down the food chain, or not have the resources to make a purchase, and so on. Or your weak spot might be closing, and this was mine for the longest time, and that's mainly because I'm a marketing person, not a salesperson. So closing sales was not easy for me until I got some coaching and did some things specific to that. And then, of course, testimonials and referrals. You should be getting 50% or more if you're an established company of your sales from repeat sales or testimonials or referrals, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're looking forward to seeing you for that. And let's talk for a minute. I know there's a couple of people in the room, actually several people in the room who are not members. So if you are not a member and you're interested, we're going to talk for a little bit about what the benefits are to that and some special deals that you can do to become a member. If you already are a member, you can stick around and give us your comments or whatever, and if it can be the peanut gallery. So who should become a member? This is not for everyone. If you're in sales or marketing in the aviation industry, and if you are short on time, you don't want to have to figure everything out for yourself, then this is really for you. We're looking for people who have enough experience to know what they don't know, right? So people who think they know everything, this is not for you. Those kind of folks are really hard to work with, and you know, it's not for the kind of people that are not willing to consider some options and be willing to listen and share with other members as a panelist in a session, or as a networker, or as a referrer of business when it makes sense. So if you're willing to play well with others, then you know, this really is something that will be a good fit for you. So this is for you if you sell something, you're in the aviation industry, and you understand that marketing is not magic, right?
It's not?
It's not.
Oh, man.
I wish it was. So the reason we built the Insider Circle is because we found that no matter what we did for our clients, success is about not only what you know, but also about who you know. Whether you like that or not, that's the reality of the aviation industry, right?
It certainly gets you in the door. Then you get the chance to sell yourself.
Exactly. So the intention really is to save time, money, and your reputation by having a safe place to share some of your ideas before you go out and blast it to the industry, and maybe with people who aren't so friendly or who aren't so forgiving of errors and other kinds of things. This also kind of helps us focus on what's relevant to the aviation industry and to marketing that really resonates with your intended customers. So we don't want to reinvent hot water. We share a lot of ideas among each other and among people who can use those things in a way that makes sense. And we learn one thing at a time. If you try to do everything at once, you're going to be really ineffective. So what you get with the Insider Circle, the biggest value really is the office hours, right, John?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little bit less expensive to do that with us than what our standard rate is if you are outside that and want us to help.
Exactly. So basically, we get an hour to work on whatever you want to work on that month. And you know, for a lot of people, it's as something specific, or you know, give us your opinion on this campaign. Why did this bomb? You know, what could we do better with this? You know, I'm about to buy an ad. Can you look it over? You know, whatever it is that you need right now. You know, that's what we do during those office hours. We do projects with people. We store everything in Basecamp. That's kind of our software of choice for that kind of thing. We record our office hours and store them there together with your to-dos for the month. A lot of people use this as a kind of an accountability sounding board. So, you know, here's what we planned to do last month. Did we get that done? And, you know, what do we need to do moving forward? We have our destinations, which is really kind of our done-for-you services at special rates at different times. So those are some of our things that we do. If you need a website rebuilt, if you need a snail mail campaign, or you know, whatever it is that you need done, you can have us do those kinds of things at special reduced rates usually, and we try to make those a really good value for our members. Our book club, this is my favorite thing. Not everybody's a bookworm, but I really think you do a lot better in your industry if you read one book a month on your specialty or on sales and marketing. And there is nothing that you could spend your time better at, I think, than, learning some ideas from other people, right?
And then you get to discuss it with us and others once during the month.
Exactly. There's a lot of really fantastic sales and marketing books out there, but a lot of them are a little bit dangerous because the things that they suggest are not appropriate to the aviation industry. So that's kind of where the group comes in as kind of a nice safety valve, because you can run it by each other and say, this worked for me, this didn't work for me, and here's why. This is really meant for retail or for some other type of marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have our briefing room where we keep all of our webinars like this one, so you can get the recordings and handouts and everything at any time of the day or night. So if you need to know how to fix your LinkedIn profile, you can go get that webinar and go through it anytime it's convenient for you. We also have our Hall of Fame, which is where you get to meet our other members. We do interviews with each of them and put a profile on our website so that they get a little bit more publicity. And also we find out in those interviews what makes a good referral for this person. And that really helps us work together and refer business back and forth when it's appropriate, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this year,
a little hard to read probably, but
yeah, exactly. I'm really excited about this. This is our Sales and Storytelling Summit at Sundance, Utah, and Sundance, of course, being the home of the Sundance Film Festival and the.
Thank you very much to Robert Redford.
Exactly. So he started Sundance really as a place to get away from Hollywood and, to get producers and writers and actors and other people away from all of that politics and garbage and take them someplace where they could get some work done. And that's really what we're doing with our insiders this year. In August, we're going to spend 3 days at Sundance, and we're going to talk about your success story or your origin story and come up with a 2-minute video for each of them. Everybody's going to go home with a 2-minute video that they can use on their website or on social media or wherever. And also they're going to help build your confidence in your ability to tell stories and your ability to be a really powerful persuader. So that's an event that I'm really looking forward to. We've got some great guest speakers from the aviation industry, people who are great at telling stories. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, this year is actually, she meant 2017, since August has already passed.
Exactly. The August coming up. So the outcomes of the Insider Circle are to create a more robust, predictable, measurable, and stable marketing system each month. And we've talked about how we have a specific goal each month of the year. So by the end of the year, you will have accomplished 12 goals toward having a much more effective marketing system and making the sales that you want to make. You'll have a team of people that you can lean on. That our insiders are actually, I really like the way this group is interacting with each other, and the way that they're helping each other out is things that I never could have planned on or could have hoped for, really. We had our Insider Circle breakfast at MBAA, and it was just really cool to meet in person after all of that interaction online. And people were just had never met each other, but they're hugging and everything. It was really fun. So it's much less expensive than consulting. We charge $2,000 a day plus travel and expenses. So the Insider Circle is actually a really great bargain when you think about it. And you can see the options for this if you go to abci1.com/insider circle. And you can see which levels get which benefits. So the biggest difference between the two really, or between the three, Bronze gets our networking and Facebook group, members-only webinars, recordings and handouts, and so on. They do not get office hours. Silver and Gold get office hours, and Gold also gets some custom consulting. So if you have a big company with lots of people that you want to focus on your specific goals and objectives, then Gold is for you. So you can select any level that you think is appropriate for you. It's all guaranteed. You've got a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you decide it's not for you, there's nothing that you lose in the process of finding that out, right?
Right.
It's no long-term contract. You can jump in or jump out at any time. If it's not for you, you lose nothing, right? And Jean Clow. We used to call it the Marketing Masterclass, actually. We renamed it this year as our Insider Circle because we wanted to emphasize the networking aspect as opposed to the class aspect, right?
Another worthy topic is rebranding.
Rebranding, exactly. Gene's a really, really busy guy. He's an aircraft broker. So we're actually really honored that he chooses to spend time with us when he does, and he said that the group was worth every penny, so we love that. Once again, one of those testimonials that we absolutely adore. So join at any level in December, and you get our free wall calendar, and you also get a free consultation on your 2017 plans. So we do want you to join us at the beginning of the year. It's really convenient for us to have you in for the full year, and then you can see what kind of results you get. And that's why we're offering that free consultation. So if you would like to join us, we'd be really happy to have you do that. Make sure you do that before the end of the year and before you actually leave for Christmas. Because most of us are going to be out for the year. Of course, you can sign up at any time, but you might as well do that before you leave for vacation and things. And then you have stuff coming in the mail and something to plan on for next year, and we'll also help you with your 2017 marketing plans, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The prices always go up, and once you get in, then you are stuck at the prices we have.
Exactly. So questions? Here's one. Basically, with the bronze level, do you get packages in the mail? And the answer is no. You will get one package that is our wall calendar and basically our basic materials, but you do not get the book club selection to our silver and gold members. We send that each month with bookmarks in it, and so you'll be able to follow that along. Of course, you can always, if you're at the bronze level, you can always buy those books from Amazon, but then you'll have to find your own bookmarks, which makes it a little bit harder to follow along in the discussions and other things online, and when we get together for those book club discussions. So that is a doable thing. Other questions, basically, can you join anytime other than the end of the year? And the answer is yes.
Of course.
But the beginning of the year is a really great time to figure out your return on investment. So, if you weren't involved in 2016 and you get involved in 2017, and you can see what a difference it makes, I think that's a really good time to make that happen.
And if you start in January with us, then by the end of the year, you'll have an integrated marketing plan you can work with.
Exactly, because we do plan this out pretty carefully. Our members vote on the books each year and vote on the topics each year. So these are the ones that our members have requested the most, and we put it together in a way that's hopefully logical so that it's a nice progression. And in January, since we're starting with building a marketing funnel, that's a really good basic topic to start with, right?
Yes.
Okay. Another question, will you help me build my my marketing calendar and my marketing budget for 2017? And the answer is absolutely. We can use our office hours for that. And you also get a free consultation specifically on your 2017 plans. So we'll look it over and give you some suggestions about well, maybe this is not a good month to be planning a referral campaign. If there's a lot going on in the industry, we can look at what topics you have planned, and if you were asking about what topics the publications are working on, we're working on that calendar ourselves. We put an integrated calendar together of all of the topics for all the aviation publications, so we can go through that with you and make some suggestions. So that is well worth your time and ours to get some of those planned out, so maybe you can make those connections with those publications during the year.
Yep.
At those key points. So, all right. Any other questions? Looks like that's about it.
Nope.
Okay.
None yet.
All right. That is nice because we are just about out of time.
Good timing.
Really good timing. Right. So go ahead and go to the link, abci1.com/insider-circle.
Wait. So he's raising a hand.
Okay. Yeah, we'll stay on for as long as there's questions. If there's another one, we'd be happy to
But now
answer.
I don't understand. There's no question, but the hand is raised.
Okay.
So now what do we do?
Um,
Do you have a question? Type it into
exactly.
the question window. Oh, there we go. If you're a member, yes.
Okay, what's the question?
Will this be available to watch again?
Yes, it will. We do. We have our briefing room where we put all of our webinars and the handouts and everything else. So anybody who misses, and honestly, most of our members don't make it to every single live event. The aviation industry is kind of insane that way. So we record everything that we do. We try to get transcripts and handouts and everything else into the briefing room, so our members have everything for the year. And also for previous years, if you were here in 2016, you'll have those recordings as well. Great question. Thank you for that. And yeah, we'd love to see you in the group. And like I said, I'm really impressed with the quality of people in the group and the quality of the interactions and some of the deals that get made and some of the friendships that have started there are way beyond what I could have anticipated. So we're looking forward to that.
Here's the question for you.
Uh-huh. Okay. What's the question?
As a non-member, can we watch this again? We would like to share with our boss.
Okay. Send me an email and I will send you a CD of this session, and I'd be happy to send that to you. Or I'll find a way to get you a username and password for this session, and we'll get that to you. You might want to download the handouts, and you can share those with your boss as well. So thank you for that question as well.
There's
Any
the
others?
email.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. We'll carry on from here, and hopefully we'll see some of you in the Insider Circle. We'd love to have you as members. Talk to you soon. Have a great
Ciao.
month, and we'll see you in January.
Fly higher than the sky, shine brighter